something has quietly been bubbling beneath the surface at Jim Beam for a while now. A program began many years ago to revive all of the historic and storied brands they've acquired. Today, we delve into the final piece of their revival plan for the olds with the introduction of Crow 86. The brands in question are Old Grandad, Old Overholt, and Old Crow. Internally, these are known as the olds. For decades, they've been relegated to the bottom shelf of liquor stores everywhere. But Jim Beam's product planners noticed that American whiskey consumers were becoming more educated about the history and lore of American whiskey producers. They also observed market trends where old nameplates revived by other producers were being eagerly consumed by enthusiasts. External pressure from these enthusiasts showed that there was demand to elevate their bottom-shelf brands into something more. The first clue that Beam was up to something occurred in 2020 with a special release of Old Overholt that was 11 years old. This limited release was bottled in the Old Grandad 114 bottle. Then came a stream of various Old Overholt rye whiskeys, signaling Beam's attempt to jumpstart those brands. During 2019 to 2021, Old Grandad 114 was in short supply nationwide, sparking rumors of discontinuation. However, in 2021, it was revealed that Jim Beam was sitting on barrels of Old Grandad as old as 16 years. These were blended with 15-year-old Jim Beam mash bill barrels for the 2021 Bardstown collection. In 2022, Hardin's Creek Jacob's Well contained 15-plus-year-old Old Grandad barrels, and in 2024, Little Book Chapter 8 featured this bourbon aged for 18 years. One final old hadn't been addressed: Old Crow. On July 11, 2024, Jim Beam finally made a move that enthusiasts had been waiting for with the introduction of Crow 86. However, temper your expectations. Crow 86 isn't going to be a life-changing bourbon. The proof is low and the age is very young. But this release is more than likely a throwback to the days before the brand belonged to the Beam Suntory empire. National had originally lowered Old Crow from 100 proof to 86 proof around 1954 to accommodate America's growing taste for lighter spirits. They followed this trend by lowering it to 80 proof in 1974 due to a recession. Old Crow wasn't particularly old either, with most samples from that time period being around 6 years old. However, it was some of the finest low-proofed bourbon at the time. Crow 86 has dropped the old part of its name for this release primarily because it's not old. Future labels may revive the old moniker as it matures. So what kind of bourbon is Crow 86? Is it just rebranded Jim Beam? That's a question we don't have an answer to at the moment. However, it's believed that Crow 86 uses a new mash bill. Beam has already attempted to overhaul Old Crow before with their failed Old Crow Reserve in 2010. This new release could be part of a larger shift within Beam to allow each of the olds to establish their own identity. While we're on the cusp of an explosion of new Old Grandad products, Old Crow and Old Overholt labels will take a bit more time to get up to speed. They're likely to remain around the 4 to 5-year-old mark for a couple more years. After that, we can hope for even more innovation from their line. Regardless, this is a great move and one that enthusiasts are excited for. Jim Beam's dedication to reviving these historic brands shows their commitment to honoring the past while looking towards the future. Here's to hoping that Old Crow receives the same attention and care as the other two, returning it to its former glory.